Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at the Berean Study Bible from Bible Hub. Now, this will hopefully be a quick overview, and if you want more detail, you can take a look at the written review at BibleBuyingGuide.com, where I will always include more information and more detail. So this is the tan. They call it soft cover. It's actually an imitation leather. Looks a little bit like cowhide. Has a little bit of a cowhide texture to it, with perimeter stitching, and that looks like a tan, like a light tan thread, and then Holy Bible, Berean Study Bible, debossed into the cover in a darker brown. Then the spine is clean except for BSB stamped. So there's that. And we have white page edges with yellow, bright yellow head tail bands, and then a honey gold single-sided 1/4 inch ribbon. It's kind of short. It's long enough to use out here. If you pull to the corner, if you're the kind that uses it this way, it's a little bit, it still has enough material there, but it is a little bit short for that. Still, it works really well. It is Smythe sewn, but it does have a lot of glue on the spine. I've seen some confusion about that because it looks like it's glued. It actually is sewn. Spines are glued anyway. They glue material onto the spine in order to assemble the Bible. It just so happens in this case there's a lot of glue. That does keep the spine flat, so there's no bending to it at all. When that happens, that keeps the text bending into the gutter, but this has enough gutter space that that's not a problem. It doesn't really bend into the gutter. So let's take a look at what we have here. Paper liner. It does not include a reinforced tape. Feels like it's a coated material. And then that is the only thick end sheet. So there's no thick end sheets to give it structure. 45 GSM thin coat plus Bible paper. Made in USA. Something unusual nowadays. The paper itself has a rough texture. No glare under direct light at all. It's highly opaque. There is a little bit of show through, but is still opaque enough that it doesn't matter. No distractions there. A little bit of a preface showing you the information. And then the tiered translation structure. Here's where it gets interesting. All right, so there are 4 different tiers for the Berean Bible translation. You have your interlinear, then the literal translation, then you have the Berean Study Bible translation, which is what I have here, and then the emphasized translation. This one, being the Study Bible, is not actually a study Bible. It does not include study material, no commentary, no study tools, nothing like that. This is a text-only edition with section headings and with footnotes. No other study tools except for a table of weights and measures in the back. So it's not a study Bible. I've had a lot of people ask me that. In my opinion, that's confusing. You should use the standard conventions in naming things. Anybody that knows anything about programming has probably ran into that before. So I would not call this a study Bible. I would call this a text Bible. And ironically, being the one they call a study Bible, at least on the website, it's the one that's made for public reading, memorization, and evangelism, not study. The interlinear and the literal translation are the ones made for study. So those are the ones that I would recommend for study. I would recommend this one for reading. So we have the Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic sources. These are the sources that are used for the translation. The footnotes do include these translations and manuscripts. So we get into our text, double column, paragraph. The verse numbers are large and bold, and they do stand out. They're easy to find. No issues at all. Paragraphs are separated by a line, just like you would do in Microsoft Word or some other word processor. If there are parallel passages, they're placed under the section headings. And then we have some indenting here in the front, just like the NIV does. And then we have the footnotes across the bottom. Across the top, page number, book name, chapter, and verse. So we have 2 different layers of section headings. We have the bold section headings, and then we have these, which are in italics. the only italics that I've found in this Bible. It doesn't include italics for supplied words or anything like that. And this is a black letter text. It does have a poetic setting. Poetic is done really well. Letters, personal letters, are indented. I like the conventions of this layout. This is my favorite style for a layout. I would like to see paragraphs indented instead of just having a space between them. I do like that. I do like how that looks and works. But I also would like to see these indented. It doesn't look like it was line matched on purpose. There are a lot of pages without line matching, but the paper is so opaque it doesn't really matter. Haven't seen any issues. This paper is really easy to grab and turn. Super, super easy. Easy to read from. It's kind of an off-white, not a cream, maybe an eggshell. Looks good. Looks really good. Lists are presented as lists. It does not present Old Testament quotes in any special formatting. Here's the poetic setting. For the most part, the poetry does look really good. There are some places like right here. I wouldn't mind seeing that broken up in a different place so that we don't have a single word on a line. But it still works really well. Probably notice how flexible that is. Even though this is an imitation leather, it is extremely flexible. A little bit difficult to hold because of how flexible it is. So if you're the kind who likes to carry, then it is floppy. It's a little bit large for carry. There's a floppy Bible. Black letter. There's all of our parallel passages. So no Old Testament quotes in any particular formatting, but they do include in the footnotes where something is quoted from, and also in the footnotes where something is quoted, so that if you're in the Old Testament and it's quoted in the New Testament, it'll give you the New Testament reference. I like that. I like that a lot. Then in the back we have a table of weights and measures. It does not give titles for the headings, but it's easy enough to figure out. It includes lengths, weights, liquid measures, dry measures, then the name, the American measure, the metric equivalent, and then some scripture references. And these are also given in detail in the scripture, in the footnotes. So if you go to any one of these, you'll find more information about that than what it tells you here. So well done. It's a well-made Bible, well done. Stays open really easy. Probably noticed that already. Get that in the frame there. Stays open, no problem at all. First page, last page, no trouble. No trouble. This is straight out of the box it did this. I didn't have to break it in to do this. The font itself is a 10.5 point. It is about a medium in darkness. It's comfortable to read for a long period of time. To me, this is dark enough. I wouldn't call this a semi-bold or anything like that, but it is definitely dark enough. And it works well against the white paper. There's enough contrast here to read from. So let's take a look at the size and weight. So we have a little over 7 1/4, right around that, by 9 3/8, by just about 1.5 inch thick. So it weighs 3 pounds 4.2 ounces, in that range. The most similar Bible that I have is the large print wide margin ESV from Crossway. This is one of my favorite Bibles, one of my absolute favorites. It's about the same thickness, close to the same height, a little bit shorter in width. Let's see how similar they are here. Just turn to a random page. What makes this one so good is the darkness of the font, the size of the font, and the thickness of the paper. The layout is basically the same. Try to get a good comparison here. That's very similar, very close. So if you're used to this Bible, if you've seen it, it gives you a little bit of an idea of what this one will be like. So that's a quick look at the Berean Study Bible. I'll place links in the footnotes where you can make a purchase if you're interested, and also to the written review at BibleBuyingGuide.com, where I go into a little bit more detail, answer some more questions. And Bible Hub did supply this in exchange for an honest review. And my honest review is that it is a well-made Bible. It's not an elegant Bible, but it is a well-made Bible. The translation itself is somewhere between the CSB and the ESV. I do find it easy enough to read. I like the layout a lot. Some minor tweaks like paragraph indentions would be nice. I like it a lot. It's a very usable Bible, very readable Bible. A little bit large for carry for me, but I think a lot of people that if you carry a large Bible, you won't have any issues with that. I like it. Thanks for watching.